Mark. Tomorrow, Christopher Eugene Brooks is scheduled to die by lethal injection for the rape and murder of Deann Campbell.
The horrible crime happened in Homewood back in 1992. Now, 23 years later, Campbell's family is ready to move on, to turn the page. WIAT 42 News reporter Jamie Ostroff sat down with Deann's older sister. How is the family handling all the emotions of this countdown, Jamie?
Well, Jim, Corinne Campbell says she's feeling very conflicted right now and that she's still not sure how she'll feel when that moment comes and her sister's killer is put to death.
Corinne Campbell wanted to begin our interview by playing her sister Deann's last outgoing phone message.
Hi, it's that time of the year again. So to wish you and all a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, and a Happy New Year.
It brings two feelings. It brings one of, just like I said, chilling, and one of just, wow, that's really her, and that was 23 years ago. It's difficult to describe. I mean, she just was full of life and loved people, and people loved her.
Thank you for calling me. Please leave a message.
This message would eventually become one piece of what Corinne calls overwhelming evidence that Christopher Brooks killed her sister. It was December 30th, 1992. Christopher, who had met Deann while working at a summer camp, decided he'd pay her a visit unannounced. Deann let him and a friend, Robert Leeper, stay at her apartment in Homewood. The next day, she didn't show up for work.
You just lose every ounce of everything when the policeman saw her body under the bed and said, everyone out.
It took police a few days to arrest Christopher and Robert.
It just anyone that came in the house, I just remember just thinking, you know, my gosh, did you do this? You know, I mean, do you know anything about this? And so I don't know, I just remember just kind of just being real suspicious of everyone that came around, even though they loved her and had nothing to do with it. You know, it just was a very kind of edgy time.
Robert Leeper was exonerated. There was no DNA evidence that linked him to the horrors that took place inside Deann's apartment. As for Christopher Brooks, the next 23 years would be filled with appeals and attempts to delay his execution.
He has a right to do that. And if it's granted, it's granted. I mean, we'll live through it. We've lived through 23 years of missing her, so we'll live through another however many years it is of, you know, whatever it takes to end this.
So in your mind, is justice being done?
I'm not sure. I have to say that I've never been a big proponent of the death penalty. I don't know that I ever will be, but it is what it is, and it's fair.
To this day, Corinne says Christopher has never confessed.
If there was anything that you could say to Christopher, what would you tell him?
That's really easy. I forgive you.
Why is that?
I think all of us would love to hear him say, I did this, I'm sorry. But that may not ever come. I mean, and that's probably a reality. So I forgive him. I did that a long time ago. That's the only way I could live. Could get through every day is just to forgive him.
Earlier today, Christopher Brooks' lawyers asked the U.S. Supreme Court for a stay of execution, while the Diocese of Birmingham asked Governor Robert Bentley for the same thing. If those requests are not granted, Brooks will die by lethal injection at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Jamie Ostroff, WIAT 42 News, coverage you can count on.
Such powerful words from the sister. Thanks, Jamie. Brooks's attorneys are also asking that they be allowed to watch the lethal injection process and that they be allowed to have a phone during the viewing of the execution. WIAT 42 News will have crews reporting live from the Holman Correctional Facility tomorrow at 5 and at 6.